Hey everyone, welcome to Architecture for Thought. In this video, we'll take a quick look at two programs that can take hand sketches and convert them into photorealistic renderings using artificial intelligence. The important thing to note here is that both programs are using ControlNet to lock your image geometry and deliver your exact hand sketch in photorealistic form. Let's jump right in. So I'm actually going to start with a time lapse of a digital hand sketch I did the other day. If you want to skip this and get straight to the tool tutorial, feel free to use the chapters down below. But I did think it would be important to feature some hand sketch work on this channel, since we are seeing the artificial intelligence tools become better at holding true to the designer's intent. And I still feel like sketching, and in this case digital hand sketching, is the best way to get your ideas down on paper, or in this case the iPad, as quickly as possible. The app that I'm using here is called Tayasui Sketches. It's not sponsored on this video or anything like that. It's just the best app that I have found for digital hand sketching. It's got great tools, layers, marquee tools where you can copy and paste portions of your drawing, as I'm doing here with the skylight. And the inspiration for this image was actually from Icon, the 3D printing company. They have released a competition brief to design a home under $99,000 that can be printed using their equipment. And if you follow this channel, you know that I have a passion for 3D printing, which we will get into more on other videos. But these pod designs I've always toyed with in terms of their shape and geometry, and I thought that this might be a good start to some ideation and sketchwork creation for that competition. But I'll narrate a little bit more on what I was doing here using some shadowing and effects and things like that to accomplish some depth. These tools and tricks are very rehearsed, and if you do any sketch work at all, you probably are familiar with these techniques. If there's any interest in some more tutorials on how to sketch like this, just let me know in the comments down below, and we can certainly feature some more concept and sketch work for this. But I always enjoy doing offsets like you're seeing here with things like the overhang on window systems, and then up above I start to set in the skylight with an offset ring. And the layers, as I mentioned before, are a great tool to copy and paste the layer and then use the paint bucket tool to drop in color and erase parts of the color to create more shadowing and gradients and things of that nature. Now, when you see the final sketch here, it's not the actual sketch that will plug into the system. I found that most of the tools for sketch to photorealistic renderings want you to have a sketch that is void of any color. So the color that you see here was just for myself to kind of understand some depth and shadowing, but the final sketch that will plug into the system, and the ones that you should use also, should be void of color whatsoever. So now that we have our sketch, let's jump straight into the first program. It's called Prome AI, and this platform is pretty interesting. It seems like it's geared towards architects and maybe product designers. We're going to focus on the sketch rendering tool, and as a bonus we'll do a little bit of the erase and replace. But there's also a background diffusion tool, and then coming soon it looks like there's going to be an AI outpainting similar to DALL-E's, and an AI chat artisan. If I click on my membership here, I've got the free edition. It's a simple email and password sign up, and it tells you that it's free to use and you can download and preview the images. If you want larger high definition images, you'll have to upgrade the package. But let's jump into the sketch rendering. I've got my sketch here, and I'm going to drag and drop it into the window pane. You'll see that I've already done some examples here, and I've got a prompt ready to go. I'm just going to click on this and generate some images while I read off the prompt. It's a cinematic, dramatic, photo 8K, highly detailed HD architectural villa with black concrete facade in the desert with landscaping and bright sky with clouds. It reminds me a little bit of Stable Diffusion, the way that I had to kind of layer the prompt in there like that. And these styles down here, it looks like it gives you a little bit of a twist. You can either select None, Modern, European, Harmony, or Texture. I just noticed with this sketch that the European seemed to work the best. Then down below, you've got the option to upgrade, and up above, you can change actually the scenario in which the sketch to AI image is producing, either from the sketch to the realistic image, or you can actually go from the realistic image to a sketch. And there's different tabs here that made me feel like this program is actually geared towards architects, because it has a specific tab for interior, a specific tab for architecture, maybe exterior, and then even the ability to take some of your CAD line drawings and produce shaded elevation drawings from those. But we're going to stay in this realistic sketch, and I wanted to just change the material on this so you can see some options for that. So instead of the black concrete, we'll do copper metal, and we'll run that real quick with the European tab on there. And yeah, it gives you 3 options, and with 3 options, it looks like you're only able to really use one of them in terms of advancing to the erase and replace. The other 2 options, it tells you it's members only, and I guess that's their way of getting you to sign up for more. But let's take one of these options and jump into the erase and replace. So I noticed with some of these that I wasn't getting the storefront or glass down below that I would have liked. So I can zoom in here using this plus tool. I can change the size of my eraser, and I'm just going to come in here and erase out this bottom, and then we'll prompt in some large glass windows to see what our options are. And when we do prompt that, it's going to give us 3 more options, just like all the other programs are kind of doing, giving you some iterations or generations to choose from. And then you can continue on from there to either build upon that image or come back to this image and try again. So I'm just going to finish erasing this out here, and then plug in large glass windows with furniture. And let's see what it comes up with. So again, the options, they generate pretty quickly, and I've only noticed sometimes that it'll go into a queuing mode where it'll tell you you have to wait 10-15 seconds, so nothing long at all. So with these options, we didn't really get that good of glass options. It looks like this one might be the best, so if I select that, you can continue going back and forward, but I'll let you guys explore with that. The image quality is really great. I'll put a larger image up on the screen here so we can see in terms of photorealistic shading, shadowing, the sun. I thought it did a really great job. Even with these little bushes and trees down here, it was pretty interesting to see that it held very, very true to the mountains that I had in the background. All the geometry, the shapes of the skylights, and this little overhang piece here. So I was pretty impressed with this tool. Okay, so moving on to our next tool. This one is called MNML AI, and the platform also looks like it's geared a little bit more towards architects and designers. We've got 5 tabs here. We've got an AI image generator for specifically architects, it looks like. Then you've got an interior focused model, and then the one we'll try, which is the sketch image, and then a landscape option, and then last is the AI concept generator that runs on ChatGPT. So let's jump into the sketch to image generator. I'm going to upload our sketch here, and then I'm going to plug in our prompt. We'll use the same prompt so that we can sort of compare and contrast. Down below, there's a couple options. It's got the prompt enhancer, so it says it works best with short prompts. You can uncheck it if you're a prompt wizard. So we'll keep it checked because I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work. Then you can use the negative prompt to omit certain features that are appearing in the images that you don't like. The redesign level, which looks like an upscale option basically for any of the images that you generate. And then under the advanced settings, you've got the seed. So if you find something that you like, you can continue exploring with that. So it looks like I've got 10 credits to explore here, so we'll use a few of them up. And when I click generate, it takes about 10, 15, maybe 20 seconds to generate the image. Okay, so not bad. It's definitely not exactly like the sketch in terms of the roundness, the geometry. It looks like it's taking a little bit of authority and changing some of the geometries, but it's not bad. I would say it's a step up from some of the other image generators where you don't have any control at all. But it's a little bit of a go-between from the Prome AI that we just took a look at, and maybe your Midjourney where you don't have any control. Now, with that said, I do know that in future releases, it sounds like Midjourney is actually going to be focusing specifically on giving more user control to the prompt engineers. Okay, so there you go. Those are definitely some of the best sketch-to-image tools I've seen so far. It's actually really nice to see some more user control integrated into these tools. I think that's exactly what the architectural discipline and designers need in order to trust and adapt these tools into their workflows. I'll be really curious to see what you guys come up with. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.